Hi, I'm Felicia Lin, producer and host of Talking Taiwan, the longest-running independently produced Taiwan-related podcast, now going on 11 years.
I'm Kanju Roberto, the executive producer.
We've definitely come a long way since those first episodes in 2013.
This year we really stepped things up, starting in January, when we took the show on the road back to Taiwan to cover the presidential election there with political analyst Courtney Donovan-Smith.
So much of what we do is done remotely, and it was the first major travel that we were able to do since COVID, so we were finally able to meet many of our Taiwan-based podcast guests in person for the very first time. While in Taiwan, I was also able to interview democracy fighter and activist Dr. Linda Gale Arago. Linda. We talked about the events leading up to the Kaohsiung incident that many consider to be the watershed moment in Taiwan's path to democratization.
That interview got us shortlisted at the 2024 International Women's Podcast Awards in the moment of visionary leadership in June.
Then in July, we took the show on the road again to the 53rd Annual Taiwanese American Conference, where we interviewed 12 of the conference speakers in 3 days, including former Vice President Dr. Chen Zhen-ren, who is best known for his excellent handling of the COVID pandemic in Taiwan. We've really enjoyed doing live in-person interviews and have added on-location podcast interviews into the mix of what we do. And each time, we've been able to raise funds for these projects from our generous donors and listeners. But it's exhausting to run several fundraisers a year, and we realize that it's not sustainable. It's time to level up and do things more efficiently.
We're launching a bigger scale annual fundraising campaign for Talking Taiwan now before the end of the year. In fact, we are on track to release over 300 episodes by the end of the year, and our YouTube channel has just hit 500 subscribers. It's definitely a full-time job producing Talking Taiwan, but it's work that matters and that we are proud of.
Why are we launching this fundraiser now? Well, for me, the beginning of Talking Taiwan really goes back to October 31st, 2012, the day that Talking Taiwan's first producer, Gus, and I decided to work together on Talking Taiwan. It was an auspicious day, not just because it was Halloween, but in 2012 here in New York, Hurricane Sandy had hit, causing the annual Halloween parade in New York to be canceled. And October 31st also happens to be my birthday. I guess you could say that my date of birth is also the birthday of Talking Taiwan.
Over the past 11 years, the podcast content has really evolved, improved, and grown, and in the past, we've been fortunate to be able to fund projects on a project-by-project basis, but we've realized that this is not sustainable.
So we've decided that it's time to go all out and run one annual month-long campaign to raise $100,000. Saying that aloud is kind of scary, but I think that our body of work and track record speaks for itself.
In the past, we've covered 2 of Taiwan's presidential elections in 2020 and 2024. Social movements such as the Sunflower Movement and Bluebird movements, Taiwan's COVID response, and the military threat Taiwan faces from China.
I've interviewed notable people like Dr. Peter Tsai, inventor of the N95 technology, Robert Cao, founder of UMC, who donated $100 million for Taiwan civil defense, Abigail Hingwen, New York Times bestselling author of Love Boat Taipei, Fire X, the band best known for their song Island Sunrise that became the anthem of the Sunflower Movement.
Then there's Arvin Chen, film director of Au Revoir Taipei, Will You Love Me Tomorrow, and Love in Taipei, Guy Gilchrist, Jim Henson's Muppet cartoonist, Dr. Zheng Yan, NASA scientist and Mars rover driver, and Andrew Yang, who ran for U.S. President in 2020.
Our planning next year includes not only bringing Talking Taiwan back to the Taiwanese American Conference East Coast at Westchester University,
but also taking the podcast to the West Coast Taiwanese American Conference and Taiwan Fest in Toronto, Canada.
In March 2025, Talking Taiwan will be part of the Podcast-thon, which is a globally coordinated effort. During the Podcast-thon, podcasts from all around the world will dedicate one episode of their show to a charity of their choice and release these episodes simultaneously, creating a massive international wave of inspiring audio content. We've decided to dedicate our episode to FAPA, the Formosan Association of Public Affairs, for all of the amazing advocacy work that they do for Taiwan in the U.S.
This is just one of the ways that we hope to broaden Talking Taiwan's reach and exposure.
We'd also like to be able to offer a stipend for a research assistant or intern. I also have an idea to set up an honorarium fund for guests interviewed for Talking Taiwan.
If you've listened to our content and found it valuable in some way, maybe you've learned something new, gotten inspired or informed, then consider making a contribution to support our work as a token of your appreciation for the content that you get to consume for free.
We do this work because we want to let people better understand Taiwan, and it's taken on an even greater importance with China's increasing military aggression against Taiwan.
If you donate $15 to $49, we'll send you a thank you note and mention you in one of our future newsletters.
But we hope that you'll consider contributing $50 or more. Think about it, $50 is just about $1 a week for an entire year. For those who contribute $50 or more, we'll give you exclusive first listening access to my interviews with special guests like former Vice President Dr. Chen Zhenren, an epidemiologist by training and true public servant. He talked to me about how he went from a career in medicine to politics. And Morrison Lee, a Taiwanese businessman who went to China on what was supposed to be a 48-hour trip and ended up getting detained and stuck there for nearly 4 years.
You'll also get first listening access to other future select episodes. Just make a contribution to Talking Taiwan by PayPal or Zelle using our email address, talkingtaiwanpodcast@gmail.com, or Venmo us at Talking Taiwan. You can also send us a check at our P.O. Box that you'll find on our website, talkingtaiwan.com/support. We do have some more things we'd like to offer at higher levels.
For donations starting at $1,000 to $14.99, we'll give you the first listening access, of course, and our newly designed Talking Taiwan t-shirt. We're really proud of this design. When I came up with the concept for it, I wanted to stay away from using bubble tea or Taipei 101 to symbolize Taiwan, because Taiwan is about so much more than that. If you look closely at the t-shirt, you might be able to figure out some of the symbolism.
At a donation of $1,500 to $2,499, we'll give you the first listening access, the Talking Taiwan t-shirt, and a tote bag with the same design on it.
At $2,500 to $34.99, you'll get everything mentioned: the first listening access, the Talking Taiwan t-shirt, tote bag, and a mention of an individual or company or organization at the beginning and end of 2 episodes. Once again, you can support our work by making a contribution through PayPal or Zelle using our email address talkingtaiwanpodcast@gmail.com or Venmo at Talking Taiwan.
And of course, there's also GoFundMe. But we do need to mention a caveat for those donating there. Because of GoFundMe's rules, we won't be able to offer you any of the bonuses mentioned. GoFundMe just does not allow people on their platform to incentivize people to give donations. So if you don't want anything in return for supporting Talking Taiwan, GoFundMe might be the way to go. We've definitely had some people do that, and we love you for that.
Talking Taiwan exists for people who care about what's going on in Taiwan and is a way to show the world that Taiwan matters.
We want to thank you for supporting our work and for caring so much about Taiwan.